Encore Technologies provides IT solutions for a data-centered world with a suite of services from mobile computing to desktop to data center, supporting both centralized and work-from-home computing models to improve efficiency and productivity. Visit encore.tech. The path to innovation begins here. Okay. I did not cut myself shaving, by the way. I have a huge swollen chin. I took a headbutt in the middle of the night from my dog 2 nights ago, one of our dogs. We have a couple of dogs. But I reached down to kind of rub the top of his head. He was asleep. He pops up, headbutts me right in the chin. I've broken his chin before. I'm a little worried I may have done something to it again. So forgive the, it's a face for radio anyway. All right, here we go. Some of the reaction from the major participants in the Bengals' overtime loss to Pittsburgh at home yesterday. Hit it, boys.
We won't make any excuses. It is what it is. First half didn't go our way. Second half, I thought we played well.
What was the difference today?
Completing the balls.
On the third down, when you guys decided to kick, obviously you knew what was going on with the long snapper situation. Did you want to keep it and kind of try and win the game in your hands, or at that point are you just, this is the decision?
That's not my decision. I execute as well as I can, and what happens. Obviously, didn't go our way.
But we don't give up. You know what I'm saying? I like how we kept pushing out there today, even though we had errors, mental errors and stuff. But overall, we did a good job fighting, and we showed that. I think we got to do the same thing again next week, but we got to forget about this game and move on now.
We had our chances, to lose the turnover battle 5-0, to have kick operations really on 2 kicks that both would have won the game is disheartening in that way, because I thought we would have handled those situations better. But I thought our guys really fought back, gave us a chance. I thought the defense played solid all day. Would have liked to get a turnover, but really they held them to 13 points there until that last field goal, and that's a pretty good day's work in the NFL. So just didn't do enough as a team to overcome some of the adversity that we put ourselves in. Didn't find a way to make a play at the end of the game that would have won it, and that's life. So we got 16 more of these, and we'll turn around next week and start getting ready for Dallas and try to gain some momentum that way.
Zach, any thought of going for 2 at the end of regulation, given what your long snapper situation
You have to trust that we're going to get it done. And at the end of the day, that part of the operation I think was good enough on that play.
You talked specifically about the snap.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of questions about play clock not being ran down.
Again, new operation. Tried that. We snapped her 13 seconds. I understand that. Trust me. We would rather do something different. But again, just trying to make sure the operation ran smoothly. It turned out that we sacrificed some seconds just to make sure that we were all on the same page there.
Yeah, no, it's definitely frustrating because obviously I want to be there for my team and help us win, but I wasn't able to do it.
But with the snapper out, what does that do for the whole psyche of everything, the timing? It's kind of like a Three Amigos thing, isn't it?
Yeah, we have a great connection, me, Kevin, and Clark, but I have full trust in Kevin, and I had full trust in Mitch, and there's no excuse for a miss.
Okay. I'm doing everything I can not to just have the blood boiling again, fellas. I got to tell you. When I hear the coach, and I'm not going to sit here and make this a thing. I feel like Michael Corleone, right? I do. Because when I hear things like in that soundbite, Zach Taylor says, trust me, and I reference this in the monologue, trust me. I know we had 13 seconds left. I wish we would have done it. But we were worried about the process of the snap. What in the world is the difference between snapping at 13 seconds or snapping at 1 or 2 seconds? What's the difference? There is no difference. Even if you take a penalty there and back up 5 yards, what's the difference? Reaction, if any? Am I going too over the top on this or no?
No. You're nailing it right on the head there. It was a terrible, terrible coaching decision to just not. It's like he had no idea that he could take a penalty. That's what the problem is. He doesn't even know his options. He doesn't know that he can just take the penalty and give them extra time to get it right. But no, I'm going to,
trust me.
Ruin the game. Trust him.
Trust me.
I don't trust him.
Trust me. Trust me. This is from the guys that did not challenge with 2:50 to go what was undoubtedly a touchdown for Jamar Chase. And a lot of people keep getting it mixed up. I had to go back and double check myself. I got to be honest with you. That was the time where they had the ball inside the 5-yard line. There was 2:50 to go. They don't challenge the play on the Jamar Chase, no doubt touchdown. They go for it on 4th down. They fail to execute on 4th down, and the Steelers take the ball over, we thought they did, at the 1-yard line before Chase all of a sudden decides that he's going to pop the Steeler guy, who is definitely jawing with him, but that's part of the game. I mean, it goes on every play, the jawing.
Here's another look at that Jamar Chase touchdown, by the way.
Yeah, and the key here is for everybody, and I know most of you know this, the key is not that his foot has, quote-unquote, broken the plane. The only thing that matters is the ball. And the ball, without a doubt, is to the right of his foot, the right meaning closer to the goal line and the plane there. That is a touchdown. Gene Steratore, longtime NFL referee, and worked in the league office for years and years and years, he said that is, without a doubt, a touchdown. Now, in baseball, you have somebody that is your guy in the dugout, if you're a manager, that says to you, we got to challenge that call, wherever it occurs. In the NFL, most teams have the same guy upstairs that can jump in the headset of the coach and say, hey, we just saw this. You got to challenge this call. You have to challenge this now. And Zach Taylor's response was, we were in a hurry for the next snap. I mean, what does that mean? What does that mean? You're trying to win the game. If you score, there's 2:50 to go. You were lucky to get the ball back again. You did get it because of great defense, and they played great defense. We've said that already. And they scored the touchdown to Chase eventually, blah, blah, blah. So they'd have had the same issues with a point after with 2:50 to go that they had with 0 time left on the clock. But how is that not challenged?
I'm a big Zach Taylor guy, and I know I might be in the minority with some of the people after yesterday, but I'll admit yesterday he had a rough day coaching, whether it be the situational awareness with the time on the clock at the punt. Special teams in general had a terrible day. Think about this. It's the second time Wilcox is snapping it. Kevin Huber, one of the most veteran special teams players in the NFL, high snap, you do it on 3rd down for a reason, in case there's a bad snap. That's on him too. If he just pulls that down, you lose 5, 6, or you lose 7 yards.
That's a tough one, though.
That's a tough one.
I'm cutting him slack on that.
Sure. I'm just saying there's the special teams group as a whole yesterday. That was rough. But Zach not challenging that call, not running the clock all the way down. I agree with you. The taking that penalty for 5 yards, giving Huber some extra room, you're conceding anyway to a tie. Also, that rule, not being able to advance it under 2 minutes when it's not the original guy who dropped the fumble.
That's stupid.
I don't understand some rules.
Well,
in the
you
NFL.
guys aren't old enough to remember that rule was put in place because of a play in a playoff game with the Oakland Raiders many, many, many years ago when Kenny Stabler was the quarterback. He fumbles. Dave Casper picks up the ball and advances it into the end zone for a touchdown. There have been other plays where that's been an issue. I'm with you. I mean, the ball's on the ground. Somebody picks it up and wants to run. And you know that's a phenomenal awareness there by P. Ryan.
Right. Yeah. No,
he's a smart player.
He is. Yesterday that was a tough day for special teams as a whole, and Zach making some questionable decisions on the sideline.
Okay,
and
but
the headset.
Right.
It's in the headset. That's how hard is that for someone to?
Yeah. I mean, I can't get over that he needed to hurry up. I don't understand why you don't just review it. Why can't you just take the time? You're already been getting stuffed. You went over that today. I mean, majority of Mixon's runs came off of one run, right? So why would you hurry up and run a play that the Steelers know you're going to probably run if you're going to hurry it up?
Yep. Well, and here's the other thing. When you use that terminology, we wanted to hurry up. Okay? If Chase would have been tackled in bounds and the clock's running, okay, you know what? Maybe I can buy that. Even though at that point he'd have been tackled in bounds. I think it was right at 2:50 to go, if I'm not mistaken. It would have more than likely been very close to running down before the 2-minute warning. And you still had timeouts left. I think one they had left. I think. But you had a timeout and the 2-minute warning coming. But the bottom line is he ran out of bounds. So again, what is the hurry? The clock is stopped. It's not running anymore, right? It was not running any longer at that point. Am I right on that, or am I wrong on that?
I'm pretty sure you're correct on that.
Okay, I need to double check because I don't want to misspeak here because there were so many things you're trying to keep track of from yesterday. But even if the clock is running there, it's second down and goal. You would have had about a 10, if it was 2:50, you'd have about a 10-second spread there with a play clock. So you had plenty of time even to huddle before a second down and goal from inside the 1-yard line. You don't have to hurry, is the bottom line.
I think the idea is to get a quick snap, punch it in, QB sneak, or to mix in real quick. But 10 seconds.
But here's the thing.
10 seconds is enough to get.
That's fine.
obvious.
But if you play that game all the time, okay, this continues, this one play and decision or lack of a decision by not challenging, and how much time was left in the game, okay? Now you bring in another part of the equation, which is why are you in a hurry if you're about to take a 1-point lead? If you score the touchdown there, you challenge a play, it's a touchdown. No. We're saying he didn't challenge. Okay, so we're saying it's at the 1-yard line. What's the hurry to score at that point, knowing the Steelers are going to get the ball back if you score on the very next play with roughly 2 minutes to go in the game? And a field goal kicker, I mean, if McPherson is Money McPherson, based on 1 year, and he had 5 kicks last year, walk-off kicks, he's phenomenal. One of the great weapons in the league, without a doubt. Well, the guy that's been doing that exact same routine the longest in the NFL happens to kick for the Steelers. That cat has missed 1 field goal in his career against the Bengals. 1! Up until he clanked one off the goal upright yesterday. All right, next topic. The offensive line. Okay, so people got on me when I made the comment last night on Twitter, and I'm new to the Twitter world, and I'm getting savvy advice from both Brandon and Casey about not responding to people and the tired act of, Castellanos. It's so tired. It really is. But that's neither here nor there. But the offensive line. We brought up on this program the very first show about not playing a single snap in the preseason together. And you hear all the time about communication, cohesion, all those things. And of all the positional groups in the NFL, they say offensive line is the most critical for those components to work together. So now Collins was hurt a little bit in training camp in the preseason, so maybe you got an excuse there. And look, you can be picky about Volson, okay? He only played in the preseason because he was trying to win a job, which he did, and good for him. And he had his hands full yesterday with Cam Hayward, but everybody has their hands full with Cam Hayward. But 7 sacks. Now, I understand Pro Football Focus is saying after evaluating the tape, and they do a nice job over there, that 4 of the sacks can technically be hung on the offensive line. 3 of them are hung on Burrow, and Joe holds the ball trying to make plays, and that's going to happen. We know that. You take Burrow all day, every day. But all we heard was these guys can run block. Pass block, we'll wait and see. 7 sacks. You take away the 31-yard run by Mixon on the 4th down and 1. You take away a 27-yard run by Burrow. They did not even average 2 yards per carry for everybody else to touch the ball. Thoughts?
I think the one I like not playing all of the starters I don't like not playing all of the starters in the preseason. The offensive line is the one group where I'll make an exception, like we talk about. Every single person says.
Yep.
Communication, it's a whole new group, 4 new guys.
Yep.
I know LC was hurt, but you had to put Karras, Kappa in there, Jonah Williams. I think you needed more from them than just the offensive one, or the 11-on-11 snaps in camp and then going against LA. That's the one group. I don't think you need to play Jamar T, Joe Mixon. Obviously, Burrow had the appendectomy.
Yeah.
But the offensive line is the one where I agree with you. You have, when they're all new, they're all veterans, but you had to put them in there. And that's what we saw. I mean, the first 3 possessions were what? Sack, interception, sack.
Yeah.
It was rough.
Yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was 7 sacks, 11 or 10 quarterback hits yesterday, which I wanted to do a little research right before, but I'm pretty sure that's probably one of the worst performances even for last year. Last year's Bengals offensive line, that would have been probably
The first half looked like last year's Bengals offensive line.
Yeah,
It did.
it was bad.
And look, you don't have to. The quarterback turned the ball over 5 times. But look, I mean, Joe Burrow's Joe Burrow. He apparently he was extremely distraught. Naturally, he's a gamer, he's a competitor, but by all accounts, I guess he comes in, does a very short exchange with the media. I think they said it lasted 6 or 7 minutes, and he was out of there. You just saw he was short in the questions he was being asked. He's not going to throw his coach in front of the bus about the decision on the 3rd down thing and kicking a field goal, trying to kick the field goal to win the game. But by all accounts, almost the entire team had showered, dressed, and been out the door, and Burrow was still sitting in front of his locker on a stool with his game pants, a T-shirt that he wore under his shoulder pads, and just staring off into space. And I'm not surprised about that one iota. Let's see what we got going on here on YouTube. Let's see. You know what? I meant to bring this up. People blaming the referees. That's never going to happen on this show. Did you guys think the referees cost something? I think it's fair to say the T. Higgins thing was a helmet to helmet.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. Any other issues? Let you guys, because maybe you're those guys that feel like they got jobbed. You feel that way?
No, they had 5 turnovers and didn't make extra points or game-winning field goal. That's on them.
Yeah, I mean, relatively speaking, they let the corners and receivers play. You know what I mean? They let some stuff I thought could have been called on us.
Yeah, the Bengals even got some calls.
Yeah, I mean,
They did.
I thought it was pretty even game from the refs' perspective. But yeah, it's just a team performance issue. When you have a mistake, everyone on offense, offensive line, quarterback, then we have special teams, the long snapper, placeholder, kicker, everyone made a mistake, it seemed like. And it just wasn't like one person. It was everyone made a mistake every other play. And it just showed like they just weren't ready. They weren't ready at all to come out and play against the Steelers. And, I mean, you look at what happened with the Steelers, though. I mean, it's not much better. Like, you lose T.J. Watt. You lose Najee Harris. Those guys had a lot of hits in the preseason. It's tough. It's a tough call to not play your starters, but you got to give them some snaps there. You can't just let them go out there looking like that. And
I will say Bengals fans and everyone across the NFL now, after seeing that, they will appreciate Clark Harris and whoever their long snapper is going forward. He also has the best mustache in sports.
I wonder what they're going to do about that. And I want no part at all, and I am not beating up on Wilcox. I'm not going to do it.
That's a tough spot to go into.
It's a tough spot to go in, but I thought it was very, very interesting. Maybe the single most interesting soundbite that took place, or comment that took place. I'm using TV talk again, but I thought the most interesting comment made after the game by anybody involved from either side was when Wilcox was asked about how much they practice and give him a chance to practice in that position. He said, we practice from time to time punting drills where he gets a chance to be the long snapper to Kevin Huber in punt formation. He said, rarely, if ever, do we practice field goal or point after touchdown situations. And, I think I heard Charles Davis say it yesterday. Outstanding analyst work at CBS. I worked with Charles. We've done a ton of games together. He's as prepared and savvy and smart an analyst as I've ever worked with. And he made the comment about I can't remember the exact words, but it was something to the effect that the legendary college coach that he played for at Tennessee, Johnny Majors, used to always say, something along the lines is, you've got to find a way to be prepared for everything that could happen. And when you only have one player on your team, okay, kind of like your field goal kicker, your punter, there are very few positions. In fact, those are the only three: punter, field goal kicker, long snapper, where you don't carry an extra guy on your active roster for that game. So if your field goal kicker goes down, you're in big trouble. There's nobody active that can come in the game and kick for you. Same thing with a punter. And the same thing with the long snapper. So if you know that of those three positions, and I would still say the same thing about a place kicker, in practice, there has to be at least 5 minutes of time. And maybe the guy does it after practice. But there has to be some time practicing the possibility, and I'm guessing it would be Kevin Huber, that if something happened to McPherson, Huber is ready to kick a point after. Not a 40-yard field goal, not a 50-yard field goal. That's unreasonable. But a point after touchdown. Same thing with punting. If Huber gets hurt, somebody has to be practicing, okay, catching the snap, right? The guys up front maybe understanding we got to hold our block for a second or two longer, but practicing. I don't care if the guy punts a ball 10 yards, but at least you've practiced it. And the same thing with the long snapper. And Wilcox said, we don't do it.
Here's Wilcox' quote after the game. I did it in high school, and I was always the backup in college, but I was on the shield, so I was never called in to do it in college. I had a little bit of more experience with long snapping on punts, but it would have been good to get some reps at place kicking snaps. He was asked when the last time he worked on it. Periodically was the answer.
Yeah, and I will mention this. They do have someone on the practice squad, Cal Aldamitis or something like that, right?
Backup.
Backup guy on the practice squad. So it will be resolved, but I mean, the fact that we don't have someone on the active roster.
Well, you're not. That's the point I'm making, Casey, is you're not going to chew up a spot on the active roster for game day. Okay, you can have a guy on the practice squad. You can have a guy that's on your regular roster, but then you have to trim that down and decide on the number of guys that are going to be on your active roster for a game. Okay. And so you're not going to carry two long snappers into a game. So you've got to trust that whoever is the quote-unquote backup, that they've had a chance to do this in practice, in formation. But you know what? We're not even talking about any of this because Wilcox snapped while slow, and it felt like it took forever to get to Huber to put it down for the point after to win the game at the end of regulation. The bottom line is if they block Fitzpatrick,
right,
the kick is good and they win the game. I don't know who didn't block him.
So that's Drew Sample, by the way.
Backup tight end.
Yeah, and let me tell you, I've had a hatred for this guy for a long time.
That's a big word.
Yes, it is a big word.
Casey
You
doesn't
can
hold
ask
back
all
on this
my
program
family,
at all.
all my friends, how much I just have a disdain for Drew Sample. It's not his fault that he got picked in the second round, but you at least got to have some form of quality to the team.
Sure.
He's not very good at blocking. He's not very good at catching the ball. He just kind of takes up space. And I can tell you, since high school, they teach you block the inside guy in field
You're
goals.
right.
And what does he do? He hesitates and goes outside. I couldn't.
Takes the outside guy longer there. I mean, that's just simple,
It's simple math, honestly.
That's right.
If you just think about it logically. But the fact that that has probably been drilled in his head. He's a tight end, right? He's not a receiver. He's a tight end. He's probably been out there to block field goals for a long time.
Well, and the selling point to bring him in the second round, he's a great blocking
That's right.
tight end.
That's right.
It just
Run blocking, that is, but still the same concept.
You can look at my friend's group chat. We've called for him to be kicked off the team cut for a long time. After this game, I don't see why he's on the roster anymore.